This is a bit of a risky talk. Like normally when people give talks, they're giving me a highlight reel. I'm actually going to talk about a time when SendGrid was having a really horrible problem, and some experiments we did that didn't actually work out, but are definitely a step in the right direction. We give a talk, or SendGrid does a hackathon every year, and right before the hackathon this year, we lost 80% of an entire team all at once. Like they all left on the same day. It was not fun. And burnout definitely wasn't the only thing going on, but it was definitely a contributing factor. And I have a history of burnout. So Vance, who has actually burned out before? And if you don't have your hand up, do you know someone who has? Yeah, okay, so like burnout is a giant thing. We actually lose entire people, like they commit suicide. It's a problem. We should try to figure this stuff out. I like to say that I'm a people-oriented engineer. Everything I do because I actually care about the people I'm working with. And we did this experiment to see, can we help our people, and then could we create a tool that other companies could use to help their people? So obviously, burnout's a problem. So it kills people, it gives people diabetes, it causes heart disease. Like these are scientifically proven things. Like you are twice as likely to get diabetes in the 2 years after you have an episode of burnout. Like that's messed up. So how do we help people who have burnout? And first we have to identify it, right? Like the people that had burnout, did you know it was happening? Or did it just kind of hit you one day like, God, this sucks? It's one of those like silent things, like everything's fine, like we just have to get through this release kind of stuff. Until someday like your wife is like, hey, this isn't working out for me. Like this isn't working, we have to split up. But like there's a bunch of stuff that we can help identify stuff. So a lot of us are coffee drinkers. But if you see a teammate who's suddenly drinking like 8 times more coffee than they normally do, you might want to go ask them what's up. If they're normally a coffee drinker and they start drinking energy drinks, like you might be too late, but you should still drink coffee. So like I said, SendGrid had a rash of departures, and we decided to use this hackathon to help out. But to actually find this stuff, you actually have to give a shit. And this is hard, like everyone gives a shit, but you have to actually like create time. Like there's a mindfulness and intentionality here. Like how many of you actually pay attention to how much coffee your coworkers drink? Right? It's just a thing, right? So this is like, yeah, we all give a shit, but I'm trying to make sure that we can all give a shit inside the constraints of the time we have. So SendGrid, we have engineering managers. If you are an engineering manager or want to be one, I want to talk to you. Right now we have a tier of management that has like 25 people under them, right? So like if you wanted to do a one-on-one with everybody in a week, you're gonna lose 3 days to that. So that doesn't really help out, and so we were trying to figure out how can I scale my managers. Obviously it's really hard to keep a pulse on 25 people and find the one person who needs your help right now. Also, they usually don't have the time to help, but they are actually the person or people most able to help, right? If you can see, if you have a teammate burning out, you can see if someone can cover her on-call shift, right? So, like, they're most equipped to do that. So, back to identifying, like, it's not just caffeine, right? There's a bunch of other stuff we can do. And I'm not talking about, like Etsy, they monitor their ops people's sleep. Like, it's a little big brother, but like we all use chat, right? There's a bunch of data that we have that we can analyze to see how people are doing. And so we downloaded all of the HipChat data from our public rooms, which I guess is pretty big brother too. But I actually talked to like managers and InfoSec about it, like, hey, I'm going to download all the data to my laptop. Are you okay with that? Carrying it around for a couple weeks, and they're like, well, the ends might be really cool, so yeah, go ahead. Just delete it afterwards, please. And so the science of analyzing all this data is called sentiment analysis. And so this is kind of like, we can take text, and we can train the computer to say, this is positive or this is negative. And so I have a couple examples of this. See that? is positive. When I say sparkle heart, you say positive. When I say killing me. This is actually going to come back. Oh no, I'm talking to the internet, and that's the wrong one. The term work on this, so we trained a bunch of data using Twitter data sets, like 1.5 million tweets that someone actually sat down and scored, like positive or negative. The word work is so negative that if you put it with anything else, it causes it to be negative. Which makes it really hard to find out, oh, everything is working. That's negative for some reason. So this is hard part, like getting the training data right. If you were wondering, nobody on the internet likes negatives. But awesomely, big shout out to everyone. Everybody loves science. Yeah. So this, I started using this. This guy wrote this sentiment server and made it public, and basically trained on a bunch of IMDb data, which was not useful for us. Like, oh, I really love Scorpion King. Like, that doesn't help us. I actually went and looked him up the other day. He's like a 19-year-old. He just graduated high school. You can't have him. I'm going to go hire him. And so what we wanted to do was take all this data, score it, and then prove before someone left that they were going to leave and try to help them out. We actually weren't able to do this. The data's like super easy to misinterpret. I recently was diagnosed with diabetes, and it looks like I was going to just not have a good time. Like it looked like I was going to leave. It's very easy to misinterpret data, but it is data that managers can use to, hey, something's up. I can go talk to them, figure out if I can help them out. Like this whole infrastructure stuff. Like people are managers, infrastructures. Who's managing? Right? Who has a manager? Right? Managers are awesome. If you don't have an awesome manager, come talk to me. We'll find one that is awesome. So we weren't able to prove any of this stuff, but we did find some cool stories. And I'd like to show some of them to you. Going faster than I thought. This is super small. Okay, so this is a little cross-section of, we have like one giant public channel for all of SendGrid. And this is the average score of the positive or negative. So right here is 0.5. So between 1 and 0, 1 is positive, 0 is negative. And so you can see for a long time, this is the last year or so, we were under that like halfway point, like things weren't cool. But then like we get over here, and we've had like this really nice uptick of awesomeness. And right about here is when people started getting frustrated. And it was really weird to see that people are frustrated, but they don't actually, like, it doesn't reflect what we're seeing. And so that was kind of interesting. Like, maybe everything isn't as fucked as we think it is. Or maybe we just embraced absurdity at this point. And so this is a little story. So I have a coworker, Charlotte. Charlotte talks a lot, so it's really cool to get her averages because they actually are pretty legit. She doesn't just say one thing a day, and that counts. And so Charlotte was pretty good. She's right at the neutral point. And then her manager, who was awesome, left to go do some awesome stuff. And she was really, it was rough for her. Like, I think the quote was, "Happiness is dead." But, you know, we moved that team around, found a new manager, and things are cool now. Like, she's back up to neutral. I expect this kind of like dip under neutral, like new team, storming, forming, norming, stuff like that. And then, really personally, I almost left SendGrid about a year ago. And you can see right here, this is kind of like the ups and downs, like should I stay, should I leave? Like, oh man, I actually accept an offer right here, and then I'm like, go back and forth, like, what am I doing? This is per day, like not per week, like, I really don't know what I'm doing. And so I tell the company I'm leaving, right here, and then the day after I have like a super, like, what am I doing? So I decided to stay, and things got super, super positive. So that was pretty cool to see. Like, to have that event actually happen and then go see data that like backed up what I was feeling is kind of cool. Like, kind of weird, super big brother. But if I had seen this kind of thing going on with one of my direct reports, I probably would have said, hey man, what's up? Like, you got some problems at home? Do you need a week off? Like, I'd rather give you that time off than have you leave. Like, I think Jesse and Linda get said vacations is way cheaper than severance and retraining. Let's take care of that. So if you don't know how to identify burnout for people that you're working with, please check these out. Burnout.io is a pretty good open source resource. You can actually fork it, PR it, add some stuff, or use some help. And then this one here, Courage Satsu, is John Willis wrote a blog post about our community lost Carlos Flores to burnout. It's really messed up stuff, but thank you. I hope that we've talked about open sourcing this, but just like James Turnbull mentioned yesterday, like that's a product that we have to support in, and it is nowhere near ready for that. But if people are interested, I can give you the code. You can work on it yourself. We ran into lots of problems like HipChat's export is horrible. It will actually insert new lines into your JSON, and good luck parsing that. Yeah. So we're hiring.